All right, so we got another issue, Spurrier's Flash, and joining me again is my
Mhm.
buddy ComicJerm. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing, man?
Hey, hey, good. How are you?
Good. How do you feel about this issue to start?
Um, I mean, I think you and I both were pretty much like on the same side of things when it started. Like we weren't really too sure. We weren't all that excited about the team change. But I don't know, man. Issue two kind of sold me a little bit more on like the mystique and what's going on with the Speed Force and all of these like this more dramatic and sci-fi tone that we're gonna get. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like this issue a lot more than the first.
it kind of just jumped right into it. I mean, we had that red being called, I think it was called like the Uncoiled. Um,
Yeah.
they got rid of that real quick. Um, then we had these other beings called the Stillness, which I was kind of like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. Um, I don't know. Another thing I noticed about them is they had like a white circle, kind of
Yeah.
flash looking in a way.
And like
Um,
even on the cover it has like their color like lightning bolts like over those white circles.
right.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, my first thought was like, oh, okay, this is where we get, the Grant Morrison inspired stuff. Stuff gets kind of is gonna get weird.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I kind of I have a strange feeling that like any kind of new concepts we're gonna get out of this run is gonna be like that.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we already know we're gonna get like a reimagined version of the folding man, so we'll see how that is. But I
Right.
kind of expect a lot of the new stuff to come out of this is gonna be, trippy sci-fi stuff. But
Yeah. Which I the more I think about it, it's not like necessarily like a bad fit. It's just if you lean too hard into like the horror aspect of it, you kind of lose what Flash is about. So if it's a good balance, then I don't see the problem with it. It's
right.
just he's got to nail it.
I just feel like, I don't know about you, but like when we get like when we kind of stay like in this the trippy sci-fi themes and I kind of get taken out of it a little bit. I mean, I like the more grounded stuff with the Flash. I mean,
Yeah,
we kind of
me too.
saw, and I wrote down the quote of what was said because not to really, we're kind of jumping ahead, but he kind of enters that plane where the people the stillness are in their
Mhm.
it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but the quote it says like it's not speed, it's not intangibility, it's not traveling to anywhere. And that kind of reminded me of like Hunter Zolomon a little bit. I don't know how you feel about
Yeah,
that. I know with
yeah.
Hunter Zolomon, it's time, it's not speed, it's just pure
Mm.
time manipulation. But just him like kind of popping, stepping out as it was worded.
Yeah,
Um, it's strange. I mean, earlier, we actually show him in one of those bubbles, kind of
yeah.
like the first issue. But it's weird, like just like the dialogue, he's kind of like content in like that like it's like he's escaped, all his problems, all his troubles. I thought that was really odd
Yeah,
for the
it's
the
what
character.
one thing I found interesting is like that whole sequence, like they focus on like staying still, like and that's I mean, I guess we can backtrack a little bit. Like he has his encounter with the stillness, you know, after that after he's put in the stasis bubble or whatever. And it's kind of explained that he he's not necessarily like floating away from Earth like we thought all those people were last issue. It's just he's so still that like the the orbit and the rotation and the movement of the planet is moving on without him and all of these people. So he's like essentially just stuck in this frozen pocket of time, or
Mm,
like they say later on, like outside of time, you know. So it's cool to see almost him develop like a new ability in
yeah,
stepping outside of reality and outside of time. So I wonder if that'll play a role in like why he's like reality jumping, or having
right.
these like split reality moments.
Like it's odd because like a story like this, I mean, you could have an argument. It don't. My first thought was like this would be a better Barry story.
Yes,
Um,
I agree with you.
and I mean, you can make the argument because Wally has a more direct connection to the Speed Force, but it doesn't seem like this is the Speed Force. It just
Yeah,
feels like it should be a Barry story, which I mean kind of ties up because at the end of the issue we do see Barry and we see I think
right.
I forget who it was with. I think it was Mr. Terrific, but there was like a big surge of energy and Wally's asking like where it was, and then it cuts to Barry. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to kind of seeing some Barry in this. It mentions that he's kind of taking a break.
yeah,
Um, we'll see how that plays out, but um, I want to go back to those horror themes just kind of throughout the issue. I mean, I really like what the tone is so different. I really liked just kind of, there was that one scene with Wally like in the house. I
mhm,
think he was like putting his kids to bed, and he looks out the window and he sees like the mysterious figure from the
right.
first issue.
Mhm.
That's honestly so far that's the thing I'm the most intrigued about because I'm like, who is this? And you don't know
Yeah,
like their intentions. Like, is it? Are they trying to help? Are they trying to? I mean, and it's still kind of strange because like whoever this is kind of working with Mister Terrific. So it's like, okay,
right.
what's going on here? And I thought it was
And
odd
and
how
they,
like what were we gonna say?
I was saying that they made a point last issue for him to say like we don't want Wally to know like what we're doing.
Right,
So I don't know. This guy, he's like, we don't know who he is, what he's about. So my guess is it could be the Folding Man. And we'll probably get that reveal in a couple issues. But
right,
I don't know, man. I like open. Normally, I don't like open ended plot lines like that, but I also think it's really cool because it gives us like
yeah,
something like fresh to think about or like a little deeper dive
right,
into what's going on in Flash.
yeah. I mean, if it is the Folded Man, that'd be interesting because then it kind of takes like a minor villain and kind of makes them a little more relevant, kind
Yeah.
of like what they did with what Josh Williamson did with the Turtle a couple years ago.
Mhm.
Um, just kind of made that character more prominent. So we'll see what happens with that. But I thought it was kind of odd how like it shows Wally, just kind of looking out the window, seeing this
Mhm.
mysterious figure, and then nothing happens. Like you think Wally would like run outside, and then I think it would have been
Yeah.
better like if Wally ran out and then that person's gone. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it kind of just like
Yeah.
happened.
And
I
it's
kind of like
weird.
if I was
Like I'm
reading
looking at
this,
good.
I would think I like missed a page. Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
I would
no,
if
no,
I was
I
reading that, yeah,
because that's what I thought the first time I read this. And
yeah,
then like yesterday I went back and I read it through it again. But like when he's putting the kids down and he sees that figure, that next panel, it's just a bee where he stood.
right,
So it plays into that whole like, is what I'm seeing real? Am I reality slipping again? Almost like with the Mr. Terrific like clothes change in the last issue. It's not talked
right,
about. It just happened, and we like they glossed over. And he has
huh,
that, oh, honey, bees, and then he runs to Holt, and they kind of have that quick discussion about like whatever it is Grodd is building,
yeah. I
and that,
we didn't really talk about this last time, but I feel like the stuff with Grodd and like the other gorillas is really strange. Like they have this
yeah,
tech, and I noticed like the way I don't know if it kind of ties into like the reality slipping thing. I mean, we don't even know what's going on with this.
right,
But I just noticed like the interactions are really strange. I mean, I'm kind of wondering what's going on with that. Um, I don't know if this is just the way Spurrier writes, but I have a lot of questions about just what's going on in general. I mean, there's a lot of different threads. I mean, and a lot of the stuff that was kind of set up in last issue, I get, there's can only do so much like in a single issue, but like we don't have any follow up about what happened with Impulse or Max.
Yeah,
We don't have any follow up with the weird stuff that happened with Jai in the first issue. I just thought it was kind of strange. Like you kind of set up all this stuff, and I get the first issue was a lot bigger, but you think that
right.
there'd at least be a little bit of something. Well, I don't know. I'm just curious what you think about that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I hate to be like constantly referencing that they're gonna call like they're touting this as like the Immortal Hulk for Flash. But
Mm,
like when you make claims like that, like it's like that's a very dense and like really like thought out, you know, plot. So there's a lot of the makings for that here, and that first issue was really dense and set all that up. He just has to be able to like bounce between each plot line and not like leave them hanging for too long, because then that's where a lot of people I think are going to fall off, is if you wait too long to tell these other story, like to push these other storylines forward and just focus on the main plot, you know.
right. And I mean, and now we got. I'm just kind of worried that there's too many plots kind of
Mm,
going because now we're bringing Barry in. It's just another
yeah,
thing. And I mean, at
yeah,
least it's not like two dimensional where it's just kind of like, okay, we have adventures with Wally. We're not even going to mention the other speedsters.
yeah.
I mean, I like how we know they're out there, they're doing stuff, but I'm just kind of like,
My other worry is that we're gonna see less and less of like what we've all enjoyed about the Flash, like the family aspect, like the very like lighthearted, like almost playful aspect of the character. And
right,
we're gonna lose that for this. Let's see how deep of a dive we can go into the science and cosmic madness of the Speed Force and what it really is and what these beings are and what they could be and all these like existential questions that we'll be left with at the end of it. That
yeah.
was cool for Hulk, but I don't necessarily need that from the Flash. So if that's where this is going, I don't know. We'll see.
I also like, I like just kind of like some other powers going on, but like,
Mhm.
I don't want it to just because I just don't want it to get too crazy where then it's like, oh, like he's got this power to use this, like almost it would kind of just defeat the purpose of the speed at the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm down, with what Spurrier's laid down so far. I think,
Mhm.
he's going to give us a very unique run on the
Yeah.
Flash. It's very different. I mean, the art alone, I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of what I wanted to see for a while, like
Mm.
a little more harsher, a little more blacks, just kind of like the shadowing and
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people complain about how Mike Deodato's kind of laid out the panels. It's a little insane. Um,
Yeah. The paneling, the way the structure of the panel is really cool. Like, it's so funny because the first like 800 story and the first issue, I didn't really like the art, but
yeah,
I liked it in this issue and I could not explain to you why. I don't know if it's like because they're really leaning into like the weirdness of it and he
right.
just has a good fit for that. But I enjoyed his art in this issue much more than the last one. So I
Huh.
understand that complaint, but I also like am able to kind of like push through it and see like it fits for the story.
Yeah. It's like we were chatting about before off the recording, but like my shop closed down last year. So I've had to read a lot of comics digitally, and I normally read comics on my phone. I couldn't read
Mm.
the first issue or this issue on my phone. I just couldn't do it. I had to pull it on the laptop, had to boot up, Comixology just
Yeah,
because I mean it's and like that's my complaint with a lot of like 90s comics and a lot of, there's a good chunk of modern comics where I feel like they're at their best when you can read it, and I'm all for like, unique panel layouts, but I also
yeah,
love like the 9 panel grid, the
mm,
simplicity, the delicacy of just kind of, you know, panel to panel, easy to read. There's no confusion.
right.
I love the dynamic. I like when, stuff's coming out of the panels, but that was just kind of my complaint with it. Um, but
Yeah, it's
that's also
almost like
me.
overwhelming because it's like in every single page of that. Like it's not like there's like there might be one or two regular pages of
Yeah.
like the way the panels are structured and dialogue, but everything else is just so like chaotic on the
And
page.
I mean, this is also just me nitpicking, but also I noticed the lettering is not very consistent. It gets really big and then really small, like
Yes,
on
yes.
every page. It never stays the same. Drives me nuts. Just from someone that's done the lettering, a huge nitpick.
Yeah, I'm
Most
sure.
people wouldn't even care about that, but
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Um, but
No, it's all right. Like I'll nitpick all day. Like I think the page quality, like the quality of the pages in this book is not that great either. So at the end of
yeah,
the day, it's just you know a little bit of you know attention, a little bit of care for you know maybe having consistent lettering and better page quality. It could go a long way, man. I think they kind of neglect that stuff just for the sake of money.
yeah.
But you know,
Um, so how is this book selling at the shop?
I don't. To be honest, this might be the first Flash series that I've seen the shop have um like the 1 in 25s for.
Yeah.
So we're it's at least over 25 orders at my shop.
Which one's the
So
1 in 25?
I think it was
Oh,
the
right
one,
here.
yeah, the one you're hovering right there with James Heron, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like that's kind of how I keep track of things for the most part. If I can't see the numbers like right away,
Right. I mean, that's a good
is
benchmark to
it?
see how stuff sells. I mean, I know
Yeah.
sometimes it can be, you have that one person that's like, really wants this variant, and then they're like, oh, I'll buy all, like they kind of. I remember
Yeah,
hearing at my old shop it was like that.
we have a couple of guys that are like really about the Disney 100s that Marvel puts out,
Mm,
and all the time he'll be like, "Hey, I could buy like 30 extra copies, right?" We're like, "All right, man."
yeah,
But
yeah. The
no, yeah,
new character debut, the stillness.
yeah, yeah. We can talk about them, I guess, real quick. They're interesting, man. They're kind of like aloof in the way that they communicate, in the way that they talk, in the way that they like interact with Wally. And they
Yeah,
treat him like he's like almost like dumb, and like he's like he has no clue what he's doing. So it's
right.
cool to see like, because are they from the Speed Force or no?
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, it doesn't. Time will tell, but
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't get, you know, it kind of just seemed like they were kind of beings like beyond that. So
yeah. It makes me wonder if they're gonna because they even tell him like, what's the line of dialogue? They say something like, "You're using you're using your abilities wrong" or something. That's like a waste and it's damaging the yeah. It says, "I don't even think it fathoms any of the forces it spent decades toying with. I doubt it even realizes the damage it causes to the brain dots." So basically, they see that the way the Flashes have been using their abilities, and they think it's like reckless and it's damaging to whatever force they're from. If it's not the Speed Force. Um,
yeah,
I do like the idea that maybe they are of the Speed Force, but because the Flashes have always been moving at such a fast pace, they've literally never stopped to smell the roses and caught these guys. Like and said, "Hey." So there could be some cool concepts if they really play into like who they are, why we haven't seen them, and maybe it's because the Flashes have always been like moving at such a fast speed, and they've just never been able to stop and see these guys. So
yeah.
it could be cool, but
My
again, it
my
has to
first thought with them. Oh, can you hear what you're saying?
I was gonna say like he just has to nail it. Like it has to be done in a way that's not like so overly complicated or just dumb because I think it's easy to fall into like these cool ideas with not really good execution.
My concern is like when I first saw them, my immediately thought is like, oh, is he gonna try to pick up the pieces of what Williamson did with those other forces and try to
Hmm.
add on to it? I mean, I don't know,
Yeah,
because I mean,
I
we
don't
had
really
the
want that.
the still force, so when I hear the stillness, I
Yeah,
think I'm sure there'll be some connection to that.
yeah.
I never really cared for those. I think that's just because I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and
Hmm.
I saw the comparisons like, oh, this is like what Jeff did, And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need like all these avatars of these different forces.
Right.
Like I mean
Right.
I don't care for it. Like I kind of just like more of a simplified approach with the Flash. Like so I don't really know
Yeah.
where this is going, if this is gonna stick around. We'll see. But yeah, I have a feeling that Spurrier is going to definitely, try to recycle some of those other forces at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
As much as I don't want him to, I think he will as well. It also there's a pretty good indicator because all of the color of these characters seem to be the same colors of the forces.
yeah,
So, and I hated those arcs in Williamson's run. That was like my least favorite part of that run.
yeah. I mean, it definitely was kind of the weakest, and I think it's kind of funny because that the TV show picked up on those. Like they're like, oh, those.
Yeah, I know.
They just like mined all the things
Yeah.
out of Williamson's run, which is just a
Well, because
shame.
they mined all of the Wally stuff for Barry, years prior, so they had nothing else to get to put out there except for actual Barry stories.
Right.
But
But
yeah, man,
did
it's
did you
it's
have
been a
a
cool issue,
favorite?
I think.
Did you have a
Good.
favorite one of these variants, or did I think I saw you got the A cover.
I also got the Deodato one.
Yeah, that's definitely one that stuck
I'm
out for me.
I'm a Gabriel Deodato guy, so that was like
Yeah,
a for sure pickup for me.
definitely.
I'll have that and the Barry one he did a couple of years back for 750.
Oh yeah, he did have a bit. I remember that. Yep.
It's like the 80s variant, like the one from the antimatter cannon. I think he's standing on or something. It's cool. I like that cover.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's a great
So,
cover. Any kind of final thoughts? I mean,
um,
yeah, I'm,
I know solicitations have talked about like the next step with Jai and what he's been up to and what he's hiding and what it means for his relationship with his dad. But since you have the cover for Flash 3 up, I also kind of like the idea that the Folded Man is going to be now with this like reality warping stuff that Wally's been dealing with and the reality slipping and his ability to now step outside of time. It could be cool to see how the Folded Man, like how he's been amped up. Like, what does that mean for him? Like, is he able to fold reality in any way that he can interact with Wally when he steps outside of time? Like, who
mm,
knows what his power set will be? But this would be a cool way to catapult him into like more of a like A tier Flash Rogue, I guess.
yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, I think I'm pretty. I don't know when he first appeared, but
I think
um,
Dark Flash Saga, right? Or no? I mean, that's the
yeah.
last time that I recall seeing him of note was back then.
Just gonna look it up, of course. Um, Damn, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, we
But
could look into it. But yeah, it's
yeah,
been a
no,
while
yeah.
since we've
I
seen
mean,
him.
definitely. I'm just thinking I might have the first appearance of him. That'd be kind of cool if he does kind of become more relevant. But
Yeah.
time will tell. But yeah. I mean, overall, enjoyed the issue. A little worried about all
Mhm.
these plot points. We'll see. I mean, I a run like this, I get like there's a lot more work on the art, and it shows. Great
Yeah.
artist, a lot of detail. I just wish this was a bi-monthly series, man. Like just the monthly, month to month.
Yeah, it's gonna kill it,
Um,
man.
yeah,
I think
but yeah,
because even like during Rebirth, Flash was bi-weekly, and then it took that like when it was Williamson was on it, and then when it made the jump back to or to Adams, it was monthly again, and then we had 1 Minute War, and it was bi-weekly, and I got used to that again.
yeah,
So, but maybe with these issues having a lot like each time, like just being really dense, it might work out. Give us some space between each issue. So like there's a lot to get, there's a lot to understand, and it just comes down to how well he can actually like pull it off and connect everything together.
yeah. I mean, he's definitely got plans. I'm kind of
Yeah,
real quick. I want to see how far the solicitations are out. All right,
5 or 6 maybe.
5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just really curious to see like when this arc kind of finishes up. Like where we'll
Yeah.
kind of stand with it. I mean, no matter what, like I said before, nothing's going to stop me from reading the Flash. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if all of a sudden they were like, okay, we're going to put Tom Taylor on it, I would be kind of like, but I would still read it. I would still read it.
After reading Titans, man, I'll give up. I'll drop it.
You're not enjoying Titans right now?
No, it's not that good. I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, this is Flash
It's
related, but
whatever.
the only thing I really know about, I read the first issue because, there's that whole plot with Wally. Um,
Yeah.
like they found his body. Really stupid.
I
Well,
don't know, man.
I
I don't
just
know.
feel like right now with DC, I'm not as incentivized to read everything like it was in Rebirth
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even a little bit after
I
that.
agree.
I felt like, and I mean, Williamson's Flash was like the best with this, but like it felt like he was constantly just like referencing other books. So it just like
Mm,
encouraged me, like, oh, I'd like to read what's going on here.
right.
Um, but I don't feel like that anymore. I kind of, I mean, if you like a series, read that series. If you're not enjoying a series, just, drop it.
And that's how
Um,
I
I,
mean. Comics are too expensive, man, to be like buying stuff you don't like. You know,
yeah, yeah,
most issues are $5 a pop now.
yeah. What DC books are you reading right now, aside from Flash?
Um, I'm actually reading a lot. I'm reading World's Finest, both World's Finest titles. I'm reading Green Lantern. I'm reading Superman. I'm reading Action. I'm reading Flash and a few others. But it helps, being in a shop a few days out of the week and
Yeah,
getting to read some stuff off the shelf. It's been cool, man. I've really enjoyed like putting my feelers out there and reading a bunch of new stuff. Like I just finished the Unstoppable Doom Patrol. That was pretty cool.
I've heard good things about that.
Last page was kind of bogus though. It just reveals a brand new character, and it's the Batwoman who laughs.
Oh,
So I
yikes.
have her first appearance now.
Oh,
Yay,
yeah.
you know. But
I remember
yeah,
a couple years ago, like, everyone was just trying to get that first appearance of the Batman Who Laughs. Like, everyone was like,
dude,
oh
yeah,
man, like,
I had it like right out the gate too.
yeah. But hey, man, this was great.
Yeah,
Looking
thanks for
forward to
having
the
me
next
again, man.
issue of the Flash. Yeah, yeah, of
Definitely.
course. And I mean, if there's other books we're reading, I'd love to review other books. But right now, I mean, I've been really
Yeah,
enjoying. It's exciting. We got a new Flash series, a new creative team,
yep,
new direction, and I just feel like once again, like this is just like a good time to kind of have a Flash book like this,
yeah,
detached from a movie universe or a TV
mm,
universe. It just feels like it really just feels like a new era.
yeah. And I agree. I was a little apprehensive at first, but I'm kind of leaning into it a little bit more, and I'm gonna have fun with it. See what I like, see what I don't like, see how it goes.
Awesome. And if anyone else listening to this would love to, bring other people on, get their thoughts. So definitely reach out to one of us. I mean, I'm on Instagram. My at is Drew Comic and ComicJerm. I'll put that in the description. But yeah, if anyone would like to, come on and chat, we'd love to have you.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.